From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ijoma Oyato.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Delta State government forfeits $15 million Ibori bribe money as court orders federal government takeover. Nasarawa State Governor Tanko Almakura appears before Alakio killing panel of inquiry. National Broadcasting Commission sets new deadline for digital broadcasting, says Nigeria must comply by January 2015. And EU leaders attack United States over spying allegation, say action may harm the fight against terrorism.
On business news tonight, interbank rates and a 3-week slide to average 10.75% today.
And on sports news, Nigeria's Golden Eaglets cruise into the knockout phase of the ongoing FIFA Under-17 World Cup.
And from Abuja, we bring you reports on the battle for Anambra Governorship House. A court order has today been made regarding ownership of the $15 million James Ibori bribe money. The former governor of Delta State allegedly gave the money to the former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nuhu Ribadu, to stall the investigation of the EFCC. Justice Gabriel Kolawole, in his ruling, stated that the Delta State government had failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the said money belonged to the state. The court today gave custody of the money to the federal government. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor reports.
The court has finally laid to rest the ownership of the $15 million allegedly used by former Delta State Governor Mr. James Ibori to bribe the former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu. The tussle over the ownership of the money started over a year ago when the anti-corruption body filed a temporary motion seeking the leave of a federal high court to make a pronouncement on the money. The money, according to the EFCC, had been in the custody of the central bank following claims by Mr. Ibori that the money did not belong to him. Justice Gabriel Kolawole then ordered the EFCC to place an announcement in a national daily for 14 days for the owner of the money to show cause that the money belonged to him or her, failing which the court will make an order that the money be returned to the federal government coffers. This prompted the Delta State government to file a motion at the court as claimant. In their motion, Delta State argued that since the money was said to have been given as bribe by its former governor while in office, the money should be returned to the coffers of the state. However, the EFCC filed a counter-affidavit informing the court that Delta State in a previous case had blocked every attempt by the Commission to investigate the source of the money. It also added that Mr. James Ibori, while standing trial in Nigeria for alleged fraud, also denied any knowledge of the money, and as such, the state cannot lay claims to the money. In his ruling, Justice Gabriel Kolawole agreed with the prosecution that Delta State government has not been able to prove its case that the money belongs to the state.
The decision of the court is that the money should be forfeited to the applicants in this case.
There were also indications that the Delta State did not take appropriate steps. That's why it lost this case.
Yes, as the court rightly mentioned.
So, where do you see them going from now?
Well, the court has already hinted if they so wish, they can go upstairs, they can go on appeal.
He also ruled that the denial by Mr. James Ibori that the money did not belong to him indicates that the said money qualifies to be proceeds of unlawful activities. To this end, Justice Gabriel Kolawole ordered that the said money be paid into the 2012-2013 fiscal policy of the federal government and that it should be used to address the needs of the general citizenry of the country. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
The inquest into the killing of 74 security operatives in Nasarawa has begun in earnest in the state. The governor, Tanko Almakura, who was invited to tell the panel what he knows about the incident, alleged that some legislators from his state were behind the incident. The governor accused the lawmakers of making comments in solidarity with the Ombatse group, alleged to have been responsible for the killing of the security operatives.
For the past 4 months, members of the Commission of Inquiry probing into the killing of over 70 security operatives in Alakio community in Nasarawa State have received several testimonies. There have been several accusations and counter-accusations before the panel over the governor's involvement in the crisis. The governor used the opportunity to deny any involvement in any previous crisis in the area. He laid the blame at the feet of some federal lawmakers.
Politicians, with regard to either justification or otherwise, particularly as it related to the activities of security operatives. I'm referring to statements that are already awash in the media by some members of National Assembly who even visited Alakio.
However, one of the accused lawmakers in his earlier testimony before the panel had dismissed the allegation of official sabotage.
The issue of Ombatse and me talking to them is a matter of personal responsibility. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. I come from that community. Today, what is happening? And the community is being associated with Ombatse. Are you happy with it?
Governor Almakura also denied sponsoring the Ombatse group in the wake of the November 17, 2012 blockade of the federal highway at Egon, saying he only gave them 1 million naira as transport for leaders of Egon after a meeting with them on November 18, 2012.
It wasn't 1 million for one or 1 million for another. All of them came, about 15 people. And at the end of it, since I did not offer them lunch, I did not give them any refreshment, I felt the 1 million naira can take care of their transportation, feeding and whatever.
The Commission is rounding off its hearings and will hopefully in a couple of days submit its observation and findings to the Governor.
The Osun State government has asked the two warring communities in Oloroda local government area in the state, Obaoke and Obaile, to sheath their swords in the interest of peace. At a peace meeting brokered by heads of security agencies and the state government in Osogbo, the state capital, the two traditional rulers of the communities agreed to the demands of the state government. They also called indigents who fled the town to return home.
Obaile and Obaoke are two neighboring towns in Olonda local government of Osun State that had been living in peace until Sunday afternoon when a rift broke out, leaving behind tales of woe. The cause of the rift, which left many injured, property destroyed and many others fleeing the town, cannot be immediately ascertained.
The relationship between the two communities was somehow cordial because we have intermarriages between the two communities. In fact, some of the representatives at the occasion even told others their mother, either their mother or their grandmother, came from either side of the divide.
The dusk to dawn curfew declared by the state government did not help, as both communities still attacked each other. Security personnel had to be deployed to the almost desolate towns. The state government intervention to broker peace between the two monarchs has yielded peace, as they have both agreed to call their people to order.
There's no more war. We are brothers and sisters. We've been living together harmoniously before the Satan raised his head. But Almighty God has banished Satan.
We have resolved to come together and work together as a team now. So I appeal to my people at home that they should come back to my domain. Some of them are in different places. They should come home now. There is absolute peace now.
Government officials, the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies went to the towns to assess the extent of damage and also to reassure the residents who have fled to neighboring towns.
We've been able to achieve a milestone, and what is that? The process towards restoration of normalcy and peace amongst the two brothers.
The traditional heads have signed the peace pact. They have also called on their people to return home. But with the damage done, the fleeing residents might just need more than this call to assure them that all is well.
Well, to security matters elsewhere, the spokesman of the 3-Division Special Operation Battalion in Damaturu, Captain Eli Lazarus, says 21 suspected members of the Boko Haram sect were killed in the gun battle with security forces that lasted over 8 hours yesterday in the Yobe state capital. He says 3 vehicles were also recovered from the insurgents during the gun battle, besides various weapons. The army also announced a review of the 24-hour curfew imposed on Damaturu, saying that the residents can from tomorrow, Saturday, October the 26th, go about their normal activities within the hours of 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. The militants had engaged security forces in what some of the residents described as an audacious attack. It was also gathered that apart from those said to have been killed by the army, several other people may have died in the attack on residential areas. Hospital sources also said the insurgents went away with 2 ambulances as well as various drugs during the coordinated attack. Now, a sister of the Special Assistant to the President on Research and Strategy, Mr. Oronto Douglas, who was kidnapped at gunpoint 9 days ago, has been released. Augusta Douglas Anyam was kidnapped in Ogbea local government. A statement issued by the family says that Augusta is currently in the hospital receiving treatment for undisclosed injuries. It was gathered that the kidnappers were paid a 5 million naira ransom to secure her release. Now, parliamentarians from different parts of Africa are set to converge on Abuja for the first African Legislative Summit to deliberate on a range of issues bordering on democratic governance and effectiveness of parliaments on the continent. Briefing journalist, the Senate leader, Victor Ndomaegba, said the event has become compelling in view of the numerous challenges confronting the effectiveness of legislatures in Africa.
The essence of this summit is to provide a formal forum for parliamentarians on the African continent to interact and share experiences, more so as on the continent most of the democracies are still emerging. And like I said earlier, there is also a correlation today between democracy and development. So we are relating the summit not only in the parliamentary or legislative context, but also as it impacts on the economy. We will agree that today one of the biggest challenges in Africa is the challenge of security. So we are also using the opportunity to get presidents of countries, post-conflict countries, to share their experiences with us.